Welcome to the Simple Idea Podcast. My name is Makai Green, and this is a podcast where I talk about personal growth, my opinions and perspectives on different things that I have going on, and just talk about different learning experiences. And there's going to be a variety of other topics, but anyway, I'll get into that in just a moment. This is the introduction episode. So not the first official episode, but with this introduction episode, I am looking to pretty much just give you guys a breakdown of what I'm hoping this podcast will be, my reason for starting it, formatting, and then I'll just kind of close it out after that. I don't have too much to say with this first episode, but yeah, let me just get into some of the topics that I'll be talking about, I suppose. Or actually, before the topics, like I said, let me tell you why I started the podcast. So, like I said before, my name is Makai Green. I am a 21-year-old college student, and I'm actually a communication studies major and not a major in new media, but I am minoring in new media. So I'm just looking to get some more practical experience within my field, and I felt like this would be a good way to do that. I always thought about making a podcast, and it looked good on my resume as well, and I just kind of felt like starting a podcast. So here we are, and I'm basically brand new to this, but I'm looking to learn and just get better over time. So I apologize if this isn't the most amazing thing you've ever heard, but over time, I'm hoping to build it up, which is going to be a fun experience, hopefully. But yeah, pretty much just wanted to start this just because it'd be a fun thing to do. It is also a productive hobby, and I feel like I need to just be a little more productive and kind of just be more consistent overall. And with this podcast, I am hoping to upload weekly. So now I have a weekly obligation to upload episodes. So that's going to help me build consistency, and it'll help me spend my time more productively. So very excited for that. But yeah, that's primarily my main reason for starting the podcast. So some of the topics I'll be talking about, for the most part, or actually all the time, I would say, I plan to have this podcast be very free-flowing and just have an open narrative. It'll be structured and it'll have themes. Like, I'm not just going to talk about a bunch of random crap all the time, or even at all, but I won't talk about random crap for any episode, really. Most of the stuff will have meaning or substance behind it. It'll be some type of analysis, or just be really critical, or just talk about something that I have going on. So I'll just talk about pretty much any life experience that I've had or that I'm going through, and kind of just project that onto you guys and just tell you how I'm handling it, how I'm acting on different things. So in a sense, this podcast is kind of like a little mini therapy session for me, where I just kind of talk about my own self-growth and my personal development and just my different experiences and what I've learned and what helped me. And I'm going to kind of throw that at you guys and not necessarily give advice, but just kind of share what is pretty much going on with me. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I think you guys have an idea. There will be a variety of different topics, and I'll just share my opinions on different things, whether it's business one day or just politics or current events, or maybe not politics. We'll see how it goes. But I'll pretty much just talk about a bunch of random stuff, but it'll pretty much have the same theme, so it won't be completely out of the water. Like, you won't come to one episode and hear me talking about tacos for an entire episode, and then the next I'll be talking about, an analysis of some type of business-related book or something. Like, it'll be themed and it'll make sense. So I'll figure it out over time, but that's just kind of how I'm going about it now. But yeah, I am excited to pretty much share my own opinions and thought process, the things that I've learned and how I'm growing as a person. Because what I'm really aiming to do is to have like open conversation. Maybe not conversation because I'm not talking to you guys, or I'm talking to you, but you guys aren't talking back. So, but just kind of have like an open speech where I'm trying to become a better person. So the qualities and characteristics that I am able to pick up on, I'm hoping that I can transfer that over to other people, and they can kind of hear how those or my life experiences are affecting me and how it could maybe apply to them, or like maybe I learned a specific lesson, or I read something, or I heard something from somebody and it made sense to me, and I'm hoping what made sense to me makes sense to you. So I'll find a way to relay that message so that you guys can pick up on it. Because at the end of the day, I want to become the very best person I can be, and everybody around me and everybody that I have the chance to help out, I want to do the same. So that's kind of my aim with the podcast. So yeah, I think you guys have an idea for topics, And I do apologize if the audio is like very tinny or just scratchy, or if there's anything wrong with it. Like I said before, this is my first time ever doing anything like this, so I'm trying my best here. But over time, I am hoping to get better. But yeah, anyway, let me get into the format of the podcast. So this is, as of now, things are subject to change, but I am looking to upload every Friday around noon, and that's Eastern time. For those of you guys on the West Coast, if there are any West Coast listeners, or I guess any other part of the world really, it will be uploaded at 12 Eastern time, noon. And I am looking to upload weekly, and that kind of just brings me back to the idea of consistency, which is something that'll be a topic of conversation on this podcast every once in a while, because being consistent is good, and I actually struggle with that now, so I'm challenging myself and I'm starting the podcast. Anyway, I am getting a little off topic, but yeah, expect weekly uploads. I will be consistent with them every Friday at noon, and as of now, my idea for the length of podcast episodes will be around 20 to 30 minutes, so that is also subject to change. For me personally, I listen to podcast episodes that are anywhere from about 45 minutes to, I don't know, like an hour and a half. That's typically about the length of podcasts that I listen to, if that made any sense. So, I don't know. I feel like most people have different things going on, and 20 to 30 minutes starting off, I don't think that's a bad time. I think it's easily digestible, and nothing too crazy. If you guys feel differently, if you want it shorter, if you want it longer, I'll adjust, I'll adapt, and I'll go from there. But as of now, that's what I'm going to start off with. As for the possibility of there being guests on the podcast, I am 100% open to it. Whenever I have my first guest, it'll happen. Maybe for the first few episodes, I'll just kind of work on figuring out how I'm talking and just how I'm going about it, how I'm editing, like just different things that make sense to put into the podcast. I'll figure that part out before I introduce any other, second or third party. But I do look forward to having guests eventually, and yeah, so that's pretty much how I feel about guests. So do expect them in the near future. Not sure how soon, but pretty soon. I am looking for background music or a jingle. As of now, I don't have one. If you're a music producer, or if you know anybody that produces music, I am all open and all ears to testing some different stuff out on the podcast. If it fits, if it makes sense, I will gladly add it. And yeah, because I definitely need music, because who doesn't like music, right? But yeah, lastly, as for the platforms you can find the podcast on, and I am in the process of submitting these to these various platforms, but they will be there at some point in time. Look for it on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts. Right now, I believe their window is closed for submissions, but it'll definitely be on Google Play Music, and then eventually I will submit it to Google Podcasts. So just be on the lookout for that, or I'll just give you guys an update. Lastly, we have Stitcher, and I don't know too much about this platform, but apparently it's fairly popular, so I will probably submit it there as well. And then lastly, we have YouTube, and with YouTube, at first it'll probably just be the audio with the podcast logo or the artwork, and eventually I do plan on incorporating a visual element or like some type of visual aspect of the podcast to it with video. So if that sounds cool, let me know. If not, we'll go from there. But at first it'll probably just be audio, so nothing too serious. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I don't have any social media at the moment outside of Instagram, so if you guys want to follow me on any of my social platforms, Instagram is the only and best way to reach me. So you can follow me, and my tag is @GreenMackay, @GREENE, M as in Michael, EKHI. And I do have Instagram just because I'm trying to take more pictures. I'm just trying to challenge myself, and just live life a little. I'm not even sure that made sense. But yeah, I'll explain why I don't have social media in a bit. I've actually been on a social media detox for like the past 2 months, and it feels great. I'll probably explain that in the next 3 to 5 episodes, and kind of just go on a tangent on why I don't have it. But yeah, if that sounds interesting, just let me know. It should be fairly interesting, I think. But yeah, follow me on Instagram @GreenMackay. If you guys have any suggestions for music, or you want to chat or whatever, I'm there. I am starting up a YouTube channel as well, and I'm not sure if I'll link it in the description of this first introduction video, But once it up, excuse me, once it is up, I will give you guys the heads up, and you guys can check it out if it sounds interesting. The content will be very similar to what's on the podcast. I'll talk about a little bit of technology, books, just random stuff, to be honest. But it should be fairly interesting. And yeah, everything that I'm talking about should be linked in the description of the introduction episode and in future podcast episodes. So if you ever have any questions or if I talk about something, it'll be referenced within the description. And lastly, the platforms that it'll be available on, and that goes for this podcast, it'll be available on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google Podcast eventually once they open up that window. That window for submission. But yeah, with that said, that's all I have for you guys today. This is just the introduction episode. Hopefully it wasn't too rough. Hopefully the audio wasn't too scratchy. Hopefully I don't sound that bad and I'm not terrible at podcasting. And if I am, I promise you I'll get better, because I highly doubt it's impossible for me to get worse. So yeah, I look forward to producing more episodes, and I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks.